All right, if you are watching this, you have made it through the previous 4 parts of atoms. How do we know what we know? We are now on part 5, and today we're just going to go over the expectations for the assignment, the grading, and what your paragraph should be about. Now, essentially, each of the previous 4 segments had a slide, a reflection slide at the end that told you what your paragraph should be about. This is going to be the same set of slides with the addition of this grading. So let's go over that quick. Grading is going to be on a 5 to 9 scale like we've done before. You'll get 9 points for your answer to the yellow prompt in each of the slides. The prompts were things like what evidence did Bohr have, what evidence did Thomson have, and so on. And you're also going to get 9 points for how you answer the nature of science reflection question, which usually dealt with one of the fundamental ideas around the nature of science, how we do science, and what makes something science versus, say, theology or art or whatever. So each of those reflection questions were also written into the final slides for each section. And then, of course, you'll be getting graded on your spelling and grammar of the essay. It needs to be legible. And you can take a look at this chart right here. It's fairly straightforward. If you have any questions, let me know. But I just want to go through each of these again. So paragraph 1 of your essay should talk about how our idea of the atoms and elements first started with Aristotle and Democritus. And you could have read about that in Investigation 3 and watch part 1 of this video series. The reflection point is talking about what is empirical evidence and was Democritus using empirical evidence and was he actually doing science? Part 1 of your essay, or your paragraph 1 of your essay, then talk about both what his ideas were and then include a reflection on do you think it was science? Paragraph 2 is going to be about what Dalton found, what Mendeleev found, what Lavoisier found in their research. And then it's also going to be talking a little bit about how did these different people share their knowledge? How did they contribute despite being from different places in the world? And how was it different than the Greek philosophers who came before them? This you could have read about in Investigation 3, text 2 through 7, and also was part of part 2 when we read about that. All right, paragraph 3 is going to be about the plum pudding model proposed by Thomson. It will also talk about Einstein's contribution to atomic theory in terms of Brownian motion. And then in that, you should also compare how Einstein did his experiments versus Thomson. One was theoretical and one was actually a physical experiment that somebody did. And you can talk about that in paragraph 3 as well. The continued learning is listed right there. Paragraph 4, you're going to write about Rutherford and Bohr and what model they ended up coming up with and how it built on J.J. Thomson's model. We're going to be talking about how scientific knowledge is open to revision in light of new evidence. And basically, you can reflect on how Rutherford and Bohr continued on the previous findings, used their new evidence to advance a better model of the atom that made more sense. Last but not least, and this is the new one for today, is basically your final paragraph, paragraph 5. And what you're going to talk about is this reflection point. Science creates models, laws, and mechanisms and theories to explain natural phenomena. So we seek to explain and predict the natural world. If you look back at our story and consider how scientists slowly built upon previous knowledge to create better and better explanations of the atom, what components of science made it possible? What would have made this progression more difficult? What aspects of the nature of science allow scientists to continuously probe our understanding of nature and come to a more complete understanding of the atom? Do you think that we have learned all there is to know about the atom? Do you think there's more out there? And if so, why? All right, so that wraps up our series on atoms. How do we know what we know? You guys, please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think of this format. And I hope to read your essay soon.